Hey everybody, welcome to TIW Podcast. I'm Eric, and today I watched WWE NXT UK TakeOver Blackpool. And boy, did they hit the ground running with this first UK takeover. 5 matches, all excellent. Even the match I was the least excited about was quite impressive, in my opinion. So let's just go down the list. We opened up with the Tag Team Championship match. Who would become the first NXT UK Tag Team Champions? Would it be Zach Gibson and James Drake, or their opponents Tyler Bate and Trent Seven? I thought this was almost a sure thing. It was going to be Tyler Bate and Trent Seven. But as the match progressed, I realized these guys stand a great chance. They're pulling out all the stops against Mustache Mountain, these grizzled young vets. They're killing it out there. My favorite moment of the match, which this happens less and less frequently, it seems, that a specific move or sequence gets me out of my chair and like just mind blown. What just happened? How did somebody not die just then? And that moment in this match for me was that there's a Tyler Bates was on I forget which of the two. I think he was on Zach Gibson's shoulders, and James Drake just hits him with a suicide dive. They are outside of the ring, and he dives through the ropes and just freaking sends Tyler Bate flying, just spinning to the ground. I was stunned. That was incredible, and I'm glad that Tyler Bate seems to still be alive after that. Gibson and Drake hit their finisher eventually to win, and they are the first NXT UK Tag Team Champions, Zach Gibson and James Drake. So I'm sure Mustache Mountain is going to want a rematch as soon as possible. But there's some other great tag teams in the mix now, too. Especially a tag team that hasn't had a chance at it yet. They weren't even allowed in this so-called tournament for the first champions, Fabian Eichner and Marcel Bartel. So those two guys against Drake and Gibson. Oh, yeah, I am sold on Drake and Gibson. These guys can go for sure. So let's go on to the next match. Travis Banks, the Kiwi Buzzsaw, versus Jordan Devlin, the Irish Ace, or whatever his nickname is. Devlin just attacks Banks before the match. He also attacked him like when he got to the arena, and so Banks was carried out. He was helped out of the arena. His leg was all messed up. But Johnny Saint and Sid Scala had a second plan B in mind, and that B stands for Balor. Finn Balor versus Jordan Devlin, an unexpected match that was super awesome, and Finn Balor eventually won. Devlin, he knows his master well, his teacher, his sensei. He knows him well, that he was able to avoid some of the traps that are laid by Finn, that his usual opponents easily fall into. But ultimately, Finn Balor won, and it was so good. It was a lot of fun. It must be a little bit disappointing for Travis Banks to not have a match on this first TakeOver event, but I'm sure we'll see more of him soon enough. And I guess it did raise the percentage of people actually from, well, no, Ireland isn't part of the UK. Never mind. Okay, anyway, up next, this was the match that I was probably least interested in. And not to say I wasn't interested in it, I was, but out of everything else, compared to everything else, it's like, all right, I guess we'll see this match. Eddie Dennis versus Dave Mastiff, in a no disqualifications match, and so many cool cool things in this match. The stuff that Eddie Dennis is able to do, just being able to lift Mastiff in the first place, I was so impressed. And we ended up with a like a sort of like sideways senton thing. It was like a crossbody senton into the table that was set up in the corner, and Mastiff got the win. So I'm tempted to say to like rank all the matches, like which ones you could skip or anything like that. But honestly, just watch this whole thing because all the matches had some great stuff in it. And that brings us to the United Kingdom Women's Championship match. Toni Storm challenged Rhea Ripley, the defending champion. And, I didn't write any notes for this. I watched the match. I was super engaged in what was going on. The just how all out these two went was very impressive. The remarkable first time anybody has kicked out of the Riptide finisher from Rhea Ripley. And so many close calls and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I like it. And best of all, the most exciting thing of all is that Toni Storm pulled out the win after hitting a second Storm Zero, because the first one that she hit, Rhea kicked out of. But she got it in there and won the championship. And there was much rejoicing all around the ballroom there. So that brings us to the main event. Pete Dunne versus Joe Coffey. Man, this was a significant main event. It's they took their time, and it just built and built and built. All kinds of crazy stuff. There's some insane stuff off of the turnbuckle. What was that? It was like I don't even know. There's so much stuff that happened in this entire show that I don't even know what you call those things. I don't know the words. I don't know the names of so many maneuvers that occurred. But yeah, this match was awesome. It was so awesome. Pete Dunne ended up winning. Which was a bit of a surprise the way in which he won, because he hit the bitter end and Coffey kicked out, but then Pete went right into his hand stuff, just getting right on top of Joe there, and he taps out. So decisive victory for sure. There's no funny business involved there. But is a little bit of a different ending than one might expect. And then there was much rejoicing afterwards, interrupted by some music that we may not have heard before, that many viewers may not have heard before. It is none other than Walter. A great standoff between him and Pete Dunne, and I am excited to see what happens next. Will we have to wait all the way until the next UK takeover to see these two go head to head? In the ring, of course. I'm sure we're going to have some banter back and forth over the coming weeks. But yeah, I'm excited. Rhea's got to get a rematch for the championship against Toni. But who would challenge her next? Who would challenge Toni next? I think Jinny would be a solid opponent to go after her next, because I don't think she has fought. No, she fought her in the Man Classic, I think, maybe. But anyway, lots to look forward to. From what I understand, there's not going to be a new episode of the weekly show this coming week. that they're filming the next chunk of shows tomorrow. And so we'll get 1 week break, and I assume that we're going to go back to one episode, not go back to, just because it's always been 2 episodes per week from when it started, that they're going to go to 1 episode a week. So I will definitely be keeping up from now on, because things are set ablaze with this TakeOver Blackpool, and I am very excited. So let me know what you think about this takeover and what you think is going to happen coming up by tweeting me at TIW Podcasts, and go to TIWpodcast.com for more episodes. Share links with your friends, subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, wherever, and I'll see you next time here on TIW Podcast. Bye.